Hello, and welcome to episode 140 of the Quiet Strong podcast, especially for introverts. I'm your host, David Hall, and the creator of quietandstrong.com. This is a weekly podcast dedicated to understanding the strengths and needs of introverts. Introversion is not something to fix, but to be embraced. Normally, we'll air each episode on a Monday. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform. Leave a review, that would mean a lot to me. Tell a friend about the podcast. Help get the word out there that introversion is a beautiful thing. So I was listening to a podcast this week. The guest was an introvert, and he talked about how he had lacked confidence as an introvert and now how he has gained it. And now he was both an introvert and an extrovert, having overcome maybe the bad parts of introversion. So if you've listened to this podcast before, you probably know that I don't think you overcome introversion, but you embrace it. You learn where your strengths are and what your needs are, and then be your brilliant self, get what you want out of life, and be a powerful force, quiet and strong, as I say. I've learned that understanding my introversion helps me to be strong in all areas of my life, like communication, relationships, leadership, public speaking, and productivity, to name a few. In fact, my first book, Minding Your Time Management, Productivity, and Success, especially for introverts, was created as I was a busy husband, father, employee, business owner, blogger. I was coming to understand my introversion, and I was also extremely busy, and I was studying time management as I attempted to keep up on the many different demands and accomplish my goals. I was realizing as I was studying these books and resources that introverts had unique needs with time management and productivity, but not much was written specifically for introverts. So I'm going to share part of that book. I'm going to share chapter 3, The Introvert Difference. It's one of the introductory chapters that help you understand introversion. And to be successful, you have to start with the understanding of your strengths and needs as an individual. I don't know the podcast guest I was speaking of, but my guess is that he's an introvert who really learned to understand himself and has gained confidence, which is awesome. That's the goal. But that doesn't make him part extrovert, but instead a strong and powerful introvert. So let me share chapter 3 of my book, The Introvert Difference. As I have more and more discussions about introversion, I'm finding that many introverts don't identify with the term introversion. After all, aren't introverts shy, strange, or aloof? Of course, no matter what the perception, these are not what makes one an introvert. In our society, extroverted traits tend to be celebrated and recognized, while introverted traits are oftentimes considered flaws or weaknesses. At work, our office environments may be more geared for those with more extroverted gifts, with open cubicles, loud conversation, and distraction, but often no place for quiet concentration. At school, those who are quiet might seem to be forgotten by the rest. On television, movies, sporting events, in our own social circles, the big personalities are celebrated, while the more quiet personas play a supporting role or are even criticized. Even at home, introverts may be compared to more extroverted siblings or friends in a negative way. But as introverts, we need to start recognizing and celebrating the gifts of introversion and helping others understand how incredible they are. When we are envious of the gifts of others, we may spend our time wallowing in self pity instead of developing our own strengths. We tend to compare our inner selves with the outward appearance we may see in others. As a result, we may have a difficult time seeing the incredible gifts we each possess. We may fail to see how we can use our own strengths for greatness rather than just wishing for someone else's gifts. Consider where we'd be without the incredible talents of introverts like Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, and many others who have truly made the world a better place. The important thing is to be true to oneself and to learn what your strengths and needs are so that you know how to operate for your greatest success. Introverted does not mean shy. Sure, some introverts are quiet in social situations, but some are not. Some introverts have always been as social as they want to be. And for some introverts, like me, being more social can be learned. If you're in a situation where you're uncomfortable, you might be considered shy. And while it might be more common for introverts to feel uncomfortable in certain social situations, it's not accurate to describe a person's comfort in social interaction as introverted or extroverted behavior. Also, it's important not to judge how social a person is, as they may be perfectly happy not going to that big party with a room full of strangers. Introversion is not a measure of confidence, such as in the case of someone being shy. It is a measure where we most naturally process information internally for introverts or externally for extroverts. When we misunderstand and avoid the term, we can miss out on all the wonderful gifts that come with being an introvert and understanding ourselves and the understanding of ourselves that is needed to be more efficient, effective, and fulfilled in our daily lives. I have learned that shyness, which can be a problem for both introverts and extroverts, can be overcome. You can absolutely become more confident by understanding and embracing your own unique gifts. But an introvert who is shy may need different strategies to gain confidence and overcome shyness than an extrovert because they are different. As I mentioned, introversion is a natural way of being. It's not something that someone can change, meaning I will always be a deep thinker and a dreamer, regardless of how I interact in social situations. And the question is, are you satisfied with your life? If you feel like you are as social as you want to be, even if your friends wish you were more social, then you may be perfectly satisfied, and it's just your friends who are not. But if the answer is no, then you may need to gain a better understanding of yourself and why you're unsatisfied. Do you have the close connections you crave? Do you need more recognition in your accomplishments? What specific parts of your life are you unsatisfied with? Understand what traits you can change and learn how to embrace the gifts that are unique to you. Also, it's important to keep in mind that introverts can be very successful in anything they want to accomplish. Your introverted gifts can take you far. For example, many introverts are perfectly comfortable speaking or interacting in a large group. They may still need to recharge after spending time focusing on the external world, but it doesn't mean they cannot successfully interact with others. On the same note, there may be times when an extrovert is withdrawn, isolated, and alone. Sometimes this is harder on the extrovert who draws energy from the external because they have isolated themselves from others. Situations change, confidence changes. Your ability and comfort level in any given setting can change. Yes, as an introvert, you can and will focus on the outer world many times every day, and extroverts must spend some time focusing within. But whether your mind is naturally drawn inward or tends to focus more on the outer world and how you're energized is always going to be a part of who you are. Learning to work with how your mind is naturally wired will help you become better able to manage situations where you do have to focus outward and understand how to be the best you can be. Some introverts are not getting what they want out of life because they lack an understanding of their introverted nature. This was me. For example, I didn't understand that a little time alone each day was a need. I didn't recognize that I have unique gifts that I needed to share and that it was not helpful to compare myself to others that have different strengths than me. It's sometimes hard to stop comparing yourself to others, but you need to figure out what you want out of life. If you're happy, don't let others tell you that you're not. If you want more out of life, then get to know your strengths and needs and use those to get better. You generally won't change whether you are introverted or extroverted because that's a natural part of who you are. But you can come to a beautiful understanding of yourself and others to get everything you want out of life. I recently gave a presentation that included a discussion of introversion and extroversion. After the presentation, a person I knew well was in the audience, and she came up to talk to me. She said that even though she didn't really learn anything new, as she had studied the topic extensively, it was a great reminder that she was okay. She told me that she was married to her best friend, and they loved spending time together, just the two of them. She was social with others, but often felt pressure to spend more time socializing than she prefers. Our discussion on introversion served as a reminder that she knows what she enjoys better than anyone else, and that it is okay to feel this way. Another person approached me and let me know that the presentation was very helpful and that she had no idea that she was an introvert. From the presentation, she was able to gain some insights into her introverted nature that she had not considered before. We need to have many more conversations on the unique gifts, strengths, and needs of both introverts and extroverts. As I've gotten to know myself better, I've come up with a list of some needs and strengths that I keep in mind as I make plans and set goals for myself. If you are a fellow introvert, you probably will have some similarities and also some differences to my list. What will you add to your own list? Is there a statement below that you do not relate to? Again, no introvert or extrovert is exactly the same. So your list may differ from mine. So here is a list of my needs and strengths, and consider making yourself a similar list. I'm only strong when I understand who I am and what I need. Quiet does not mean shy. Quiet for me means thinking before speaking, taking time to reflect, and getting lost in deep thought from time to time. Quiet is a gift. I usually need time to think before speaking. I need to let people know when I need time to think. I need to set aside some time alone each day, whether at home or work, for reflection and recharge. I need to act according to my values and not worry what other people think. There are some things about myself that I cannot change, such as the way I spend a lot of time in deep thought, but there are many things I can change, such as my thoughts around irrational fears. I can engage in small talk when I want to or need to, but it's fine if I avoid some. I need to work to make connections with everyone in my life. It takes work to deepen the close relationships I have, and it is worth it. I need to prepare for presentations and meetings as appropriate to minimize the on the spot time to think. I need to remember to make my intentions, plans, and vision known to others and not assume they understand what is so clear in my head. I am a master at reflection and can use this ability to be better each day. I can benefit greatly by reading the words of others and reflecting on them. I need to let my voice be heard, whether in person or through writing. I need to strive to have focus as I work on important and meaningful projects. Multitasking is not usually effective for me. I remember that everyone has great gifts, including me. I'll do my best and only compare to myself and not to others. I will dream big and act on my dreams. Why not me? So think about that list. What would be on your list as your needs and strengths as an introvert? You could refer to your list as you set goals and make plans. Embracing introversion. As I mentioned earlier, being an introvert or extrovert is not good or bad, but it is the way you're wired. It's your natural way of being. It's been my experience as I have come to understand myself and my introverted traits, such as the fact that I think deeply, usually think before speaking, sometimes need some time alone, and prefer deep conversations versus small talk, that I no longer feel like I'm being held back by limitations or paralyzed by fear. For years, I tried to learn to be an extrovert. What I didn't understand was that what I perceived as flaws were in reality some of my greatest strengths. Working with my natural gifts instead of against them, I've become so much more successful than ever before. Embracing introversion is not about making any excuses for not being my best or getting everything I want out of life. I've learned that if I want to be successful, I need to figure out what makes me strong and how I can be my best as an introvert. So, here are a couple action steps from the chapter. Think about your unique strengths. Write down as many as you can think of and identify how they can help you. Number two, think about your own needs, whether it be needing time to think, needing time to recharge, or whatever needs are unique to you. Understanding and meeting these needs will be key to increasing your effectiveness. So that was chapter 3. If you're interested in purchasing Minding Your Time, it's available on Amazon in either a Kindle format or a paperback version. Stay tuned. I'm working on book number 2 on introverted strengths and confidence. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you take the time to explore other episodes and learn from me and our amazing guests. Remember, if you're interested in getting to know yourself better, there's now a free Type Finder personality assessment on the Quiet and Strong website. This free assessment will give you a brief report, including the 4-letter Myers-Briggs code. I will add a link to the show notes. And I'd love to connect with you. Reach out at david@quietandstrong.com or check out the quietandstrong.com website, which includes blog posts and links to social media for Quiet and Strong. Send me topics or guests that you'd like to see on the show. There's so many great things about being an introvert, and so we need those to be understood. Get to know your introverted strengths and needs and be strong.